Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Well, I want to give congratulations to two families in our church. First of all, we rejoice with the Mallards in the birth of John Grady Mallard, Abby and Chase, and we're happy for them and for the Bright family. And also for Rebecca and John Warren and the birth of their son Hayes Warren. Rebecca is David and Sue Roberts' daughter, and so we're so happy for the Roberts family and the Warren family and for these two little covenant children that God has blessed our church family with. What a joy that is. This past Sunday night, I went up to Huntsville, Alabama to a church there that was installing a pastor. I had a responsibility for presbytery, and that was to give a charge to the pastor, to give him just a short biblical encouragement as he started his work. And so I did that, and then on Monday, I got worried and upset about something, and Allison did something that's very cruel for a pastor's wife to do. She reminded me of what I had told this pastor Sunday night and how I was not applying that to my own life. So I've been thinking about that and thought I would just share my humiliation with you. The passage that I read, and this is our encouraging word, is a well-loved passage. It's Luke chapter 10, verse 38. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, they came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." Well, I want to ask a few questions about that passage. And the first question is, what was Martha's rule? I think Martha's rule was, when there's work to be done, everybody should chip in. And of course, that's a great rule. And things were busy. Jesus had shown up at their home with all of his hungry disciples, and there were meals to be cooked and sleeping arrangements to be made. There was a lot of work to be done, and Martha had this rule, when there's work to be done, everybody needs to chip in. But my second question is a little more difficult to answer, and that is, why did Martha get so upset when her rule was broken? That's not as obvious as it seems. I mean, I think that, if you kind of look at this situation, Martha had a different personality from her sister Mary. She was a more direct, a busy sort of person. Mary was a little more quiet and reflective and emotionally sensitive. And it doesn't seem like, I know it's a short story, but it doesn't seem like there was stuff that wasn't getting done. I mean, these were the sort of situations that Martha probably just reveled in. She loved it when things were busy and she could start to bustle around and get things ready. She didn't ask Mary to help her. I think she was really kind of irritated that Mary hadn't offered. She was just sitting there listening to Jesus teach and worshiping at his feet. But it wasn't just that the rule was broken. Once again, why? Why did she get worried and upset about this? And I think the clue is, who is commended in this story? Well, Mary is. Jesus says she's chosen the better thing. And what's Mary doing? She's listening to Jesus. She's worshiping. And that's the clue there. The reason that Martha was so upset is that something that she worshiped, and I'll just call it an idol that she has was being threatened or was being challenged. And let me just stop and say there that anytime believers have problem emotions, whether it's being worried and upset, being angry, being bitter, being bored, being distressed in any sort of way, discontent, it's often because something that we worship besides God, some idol, has been threatened or challenged in some way. And so I think that Martha's idol, or her this God that was being challenged, was her God of efficiency or control. And that's a very common one. Maybe that's one of the idols in your life. The idea that if we can get everything done and have everything in the right framework and we can meet all of the planned goals and match all of our expectations, then life is going to be great. But anytime someone stands in the way of that or challenges that in some way, then wow, there's a great deal of upset. And so what's the answer to this? Where does this drive us as Christians? Well, of course, it drives us to Christ. And Jesus is the answer to all of these problem emotions that we have. He's the answer when we are worried and upset about many things. Look what he does. I just love this. Martha's kind of stunk up the place. She's made this loud comment. Jesus has heard it. The disciples have heard it. Mary has heard it. And I know I'm kind of imagining this, that Jesus pulls her aside. They go into the kitchen and first he speaks to her. He says her name, says it twice, I think, to show his regard for her. Martha. Maybe he said it once to kind of get her attention, and then Martha. He says it more softly. And then he tells her, you're worried and upset about many things, but what is needed? He says, your sister knows what is needed. The one thing that's important, and that is knowing me and worshiping me. And that's where this all comes back for us as believers, is that any time that we have these struggles, we can do the negative thing and trace them to that source, that idol that we are clinging to and that is being challenged. But then we don't stop with the negative. We turn to the Lord Jesus and to His good news and see how He is the one that answers that great need of our lives. He's the one who's ultimately in control. And so even though our lives may be spinning out of control, He is going to bring all the perfect order and perfection to the plan that He has for our lives. And so you'll have to work that out yourself in your own life and situation. Well, I look forward to seeing you all on the Lord's Day. Have a great week. God bless you.